Here we are with John Daversa. Just put out an album called Kaleidoscope Eyes of Beatles covers. It's a live big band album. And where did you record this album?
We recorded down in Alva's showroom in San Pedro. They have a ballet studio that's basically a black box, and we were able to have a big orchestra in there along with the live audience, and it was just a perfect situation.
And how long has it been since you've moved to Florida? Because I know you used to live out here. I came to see you with Shogun Warrior and the big band.
Yeah, it's been 3 years. I can't believe it's gone that fast. But moved out there 3 years ago to be the head of the jazz department over at the Frost School of Music, University of Miami.
Yeah, 3 years, that definitely went by. Now, when I used to see you with Shogun Warrior, of course you played trumpet, and that group's got Jeff Babko and Toshi Inagi from Jimmy Kimmel, and Tos Panos would usually play with you guys. Mike Elizondo sometimes when he was available, and
Well, that's the
just so
band.
you guys with Tim LaFave, I think. So that's a few different guys.
Some guest stars.
And yeah, so with that, you had the special trumpet you would play, but it was more, I want to call it futuristic style. What could you tell us about that instrument?
Yeah, it's interesting to think of it as futuristic because it was made in the late '60s. But it's got a guy. It does, doesn't it? Uh, a gentleman named Niall Steiner invented it, and it's a MIDI controller, electric valve instrument, EVI or EWI for the woodwind players, and it's you can play any synthesizer sound. It's just MIDI out, and you control it a little bit like a trumpet, but you can create all these different colors and sonic textures. So I love playing it.
Now, one of the best shoots I ever did with photos was when we did that at USC, and I believe you had a purple shirt on, which was cool, and a tie, and we did it out on the campus. Can't remember which part. So at that time, you were teaching at USC?
I was. I believe I taught for 2 years as an adjunct professor over there, and then right after that, I took a position as in the jazz department at Cal State Northridge
Right.
for 2 years, and then out of the blue, I got this call to go check out University of Miami. So things just started rolling at that point.
Well, what's been going on in the 6 years since we've known each other?
Yeah, a lot's been going on in 6 years.
Yeah,
For you too, I
that's
know.
right. Oh, well, yeah, I was in college myself, so. Yeah, so Kaleidoscope Eyes, the question is, the Beatles had, so many great songs. You go see Paul McCartney in concert, he plays 38 songs, a lot of Beatles in there. How do you pick what Beatles songs you're going to play for an album that fits the big band format too, though?
Yeah,
It's-
great
That's right.
question. I just had to go in deep. I took a summer and on every, I'd stay up all night long and listen on planes, and every moment that I could, I would just listen to the whole catalog again with headphones on and just fall in love with every song and really let it filter into myself, into my soul again. Uh, and then I just had to let it go. I stopped listening, and then
About your songs.
they would just, I'd start to hear one of them, and by letting go, then they came back to me in a way that I started to hear them within my own lens, my own filter, just one by one. And other times I was trying to think. I remember sitting on a plane, and someone was looking at their iTunes, and I saw, I wonder if they're gonna choose a Beatles tune, and they did. And then I said, whatever they choose, that's the one I'm going to do. And they chose "Here Comes the Sun," and I'll get it. Uh, so things like that, a lot of different happenstances.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was part of the Pledge Music campaign you did, and you did raise 100%, which is great. And I got the album, I think, about a week ago, and I wrote you just, see when you'd be around. You just happened to be here this week, so that was very good timing.
Serendipitous.
You were with the Bob Mincer Big Band last night. I know as Buddy Rich, it's been a whole tribute weekend for him. And also Gene Krupa Big Band was performing. John LaBarbera had something he was doing, whole special weekend. So I guess, tell us about the influence, those big band artists had for you.
Oh, well, one of the first ones for me was Stan Kenton. And my father is a trumpet player as well, and he played on Stan Kenton's band. And so I always heard that name, and there are a couple albums, in the house that I always saw, and eventually I checked him out. And there's one that's called D. Barton, what's it called? Stan Kenton plays the jazz compositions of D. Barton. And I heard that record, and it just really inspired me because it was so innovative and provocative and big and loud and soft and intimate and all of those things and creative and imaginative. So that gave me the spark to want to do something like that. And honestly, as a trumpet player, when you come up in school, you play in a lot of big bands, and there's a lot of music that I always loved playing, but I knew there could be something more. So I was interested in trying to create some music that I really enjoyed playing, and I knew with the big band format I could use the writing as another instrument, basically another voice along with playing to most fully articulate the music I was hearing in my head.
Now about the John Daversa Big Band, I used to see you over at the Baked Potato. I think, what did you have, 30 musicians there? All on that stage. And you fit every person on stage, and the drums had a little space off stage, but you fit everybody on that stage. And there's also the small band you had going as well.
Yeah, we started playing there with a small band for a year. I think that was 2006, April of 2006, I remember. And we played there for a year, and then I told Justin Randy, I said, I have this big band. I kind of have this crazy idea. Do you want to even try this? And then I went in with my tape measure, the night that we were going to play, as if that was going to solve any problems for me. But we played the last Sunday of every month there for 7 years. And I've still been coming since I've been in Miami. I still come back once a month to do something, so we still play regularly. And we kind of just fit. Everybody knows exactly where to put their elbows and put their stools and their chairs. Yeah, and it just works, and it's so much fun. It's always going to be a home base for us to go and work out the music and really be creative and loose, and the audience is right there, and I just love it.
And Shogun Warrior, that was an amazing group. I always, went to go see you guys. What's up with Shogun Warrior these days?
Shogun Warrior, we're actually having a reunion on Friday. Yeah, we're playing Friday with the original cast with Mike Elizondo and Tospanos and Toshi Yanagi and Jeff Babko and myself.
That's a real deal.
And it's one of those bands where the less we rehearse, the better we sound, because it's so spontaneous, and it's a bunch of, we've all known each other since we were in high school or shortly after. I went to school with Mike in high school, and we all knew Jeff at the same time, and then I met Toss and Toshi I met later through Jeff, and we've gone through a lot of life together, and we've played a lot of music together, a lot of gigs, and there's just a history and an understanding of one another that's irreplaceable, and it's just a blast. It's like romper room every time we play.
And everybody's backgrounds is pretty good in that too. Two guys from Kimmel, Elizondo's produced all these people, and Toss, and everyone's just comes from a really great background.
Yeah, it's one of the joys of my existence to get to play with Shogun every once in a while.
Yeah, I have the albums. I used to come to the shows. I remember all that. So yeah, Kaleidoscope Eyes, of course. So with that, is there going to be a tour playing that music? What's going on with it?
Yeah, we're putting it all together right now. We just booked Yoshi's in Oakland. I'm doing another date in Miami, and another date coming up in January in LA, and getting something together in Chicago. It's a huge, massive project, and that has its limitations. Because it's a full big band, but not just a big band. It's 6 saxophones and 4 trombones, tuba, 5 trumpets, a string section, a choir, vocalists, rhythm section with 2 guitar players, vibraphone, drums, the whole bit. It's pretty crazy. I went between being incredibly excited about it and holy, what have I done? But it works out. We're able to bring the core of the big band to travel with us, and then the idea is to pick up local musicians because everything's written on the charts. Yes, exactly. So I think it's going to work. It depends on what the budget is and how big the hall is and all of that. But I'm really excited about it, and the response for it has been overwhelming. It's one of those projects where it's just become so much bigger than any one individual. I'm just kind of watching it be its own organism,
And you had some great special guests on the album. Tell us some of the guys you had on there.
Yeah, well, everybody in the band is a special guest, to be honest. But of course, Renee Olstead came in and sang on 2 songs and just sounded so gorgeous. And Katis Buckingham's rapping on a tune and playing some tenor. And Genevieve Artadi from Nowhere is singing in the choir, and Carol Houston and Kate Reed, and then of course the regulars in the big band, Gene Coy on drums, and Jerry Watts, my soul brother, on the bass, and Zane Carney and Andrew Senowick. Nick Mancini's playing vibes. It goes on and on.
That's the band right there.
Yeah, yeah, and those musicians, we've played so many gigs together and logged in so many hours as well, that it's just really special. It's hard to imagine ever making a record without those musicians.
And Jerry, I know, is over at LA Music Academy, and Zane I saw playing guitar with John Mayer. So your band members, they've got some pretty good gigs.
Yeah, well, they're world class musicians, so they're going to be playing with world class musicians. Law of attraction, huh?
Including John here. Seen you play many times, so I can definitely say you're a world class musician. And the album's amazing. Yeah, so how did you just decide between making it a live or studio? Which I know it was live, but that decision.
Originally, it was certainly going to be a studio record, and I remember I was out here actually in LA. I was, for whatever reason, and I was driving, and I just received the message that it needed to be live, and which really didn't make all that much sense to me because the music was so intricate, and I wanted it to be really clean, and but it was clear to me that in this day and age, people need to see the music as well as hear it, and if I did it live, then I could get Alex Chaloff to come in and do an 8-camera shoot, and really make the album look good. I could bring in a live audience, which would also pump up the way that we played, because we always reflect the energy back and forth from the players and the audience. And I knew that would give us that special spark in the music as we're trying to make this collective thing just lift the floor. I remember when we started that first tune, when we recorded it, the first tune we played on the live show was Michelle. And everybody that was there, everybody in the band and everybody in the audience was really there because they wanted to be part of something really special and really great. You could feel it, like there was this genuine love for the whole process. Again, not for any one individual. It was just this whole collective organism. And it was so thick in that room, Alex, I felt like I was going to levitate. It was just, yeah. And for that reason alone, I'm so glad that we did it live, because you can feel that on the recording. You can feel that thickness of well intentions.
Now for Kaleidoscope Eyes, where can you buy the album now?
You can find it just about everywhere. It released through iTunes and Amazon, and of course on my website, which is johndaversa.com.
That's Daversa.
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 Yes.
And so you got the Baked Potato coming up, and some Kaleidoscope Eye shows, and what else is left to do? You put out the album, you got some shows lined up. In the next 6 months.
Well, it's yeah, we're certainly thick in promoting the record right now, which I'm really enjoying because I get to hear the reflection and the response to the music, and of course we're already working on the next records. No, I think that's going to be that's done. That one's done, and now we'll probably a couple new projects. One with a small band, of course, and another one with the big band are in the works, and before I know it, I'll be knee deep in my duties at the Frost School of Music in end of August, and touring around at the same time, and taking care of my family, and raising my 5-year-old daughter, balancing out life like we all do.
Yeah, you have a lot going on.
Yeah, but it's super fun, man, and it's so much, it's the purpose is so much bigger than myself. I know I've said that 5 times already now, but I really feel like we're going around and serving as some sort of inspiration for people, to do what they want to do, and that if we can do it, they can do it too. That's what I'm feeling back. So it feels like it's got some divine purpose behind it. So if that's the case, I am a most willing service person.
And yeah, we look forward to seeing you at the Baked Potato, and you can check out johndaversa.com for the CD, tour dates, and everything coming up on you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me come in, Alex.
Thanks.